the Board of Safety public meeting for Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. If we could please rise and pledge the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Josh Gover. Present. Jim Wolthoff.
Present.
Dave Lobos.
Present.
Norm Stick.
Present.
Charlie Caver.
Present.
Bill Fisher.
Here.
Todd Volkeny.
Here.
Carl Brittingham is absent. Nick Mager.
Here.
Ralph Miller.
He just stepped out for a minute.
He's not gonna be here, he asked me to substitute for.
Okay. And Dave Oshner.
Here. We would like the representative of Bob Carnan is here also. All right, we have to call for public comment 3 times. If there's any public comment, please approach the podium and state your name. Public comment once, public comment twice, public comment 3 times. Being done, we'll need a motion to approve the minutes from July 27th.
So moved.
I have a motion from Norm. Is there a second?
Second motion.
Second from Dave. Are there any questions? Being done, roll call vote.
Josh Gover.
Yes.
Jim Wolthoff.
Yes.
Dave Lobos.
Yes.
Norm Stick.
Yes.
Charlie Caver.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Tim, the minutes report.
Hello, everyone. The only thing I need to really report for the hours for July was Mr. Van Diver didn't make any hours, so I gave him his last verbal warning for a 12-month period. He was in and out of town. His reasoning was that he was in and out of town and then just didn't do any hours, but he did notify me of that fact, so.
Okay, well, at least he notified you.
That's all I got.
No new recruits.
No, sir.
Okay, keep trying.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your stuff. Police Department communications, Bill.
We sent flowers to the Danny Cowder funeral, received a thank you card, you sent flowers to Sergeant Kilgore's grandmother's funeral. We received a thank you text from him. In your packet, you can see that there is a Facebook post for Officer Lewis. Stopped by in his new squad car. Stopped by in his new squad car and let the young kids sit inside of it. So thank you for going through their block. And then we received a email today, or actually it was 2 days ago, from a Mrs. Dipisa, T-I-P-I-S-A. This is Honorable Chief Fisher, Cedar Lake, Indiana, reference Officer Miller. I would like to thank Officer Miller, which is for Corporal Miller, for taking the time and interest in helping my son Andrew to adjust and feel comfortable while attending Jane Ball School in Cedar Lake, Indiana. This officer went above and beyond to help Andrew during his difficult adjustment time. I appreciate Officer Miller for taking the time and helping my child out. She lives in Lowell. I don't know if that was from a special needs class, probably. They do some interactive. They have some. The schools have some some kids go to their school and some of theirs come to ours for special needs. So Corporal Miller went in and helped the kid that was having a rough day. She just wanted to say thank you. So I responded to her in email, so thank you very much for that. That means a lot, and I will make sure that that Corporal Miller is aware of it, and we'll put this email in his file.
Great.
Okay. Finances, purchase orders.
You got a copy of the purchase orders there, sirs, for the month. We need to go through all of them, just some basic stuff and vehicle repairs, things of that nature. of anything that was too astronomical, with the exception of leads online. The price for leads went up to $2,200 a year. It's a program that our investigations uses. And then we did get some new lights in the ceiling that were installed by Mr. Rowe from IT. I'm not sure, that shouldn't be on our PO though, because we actually got that money from our DC, right?
Yeah, that should have been, it was a repair to our location, but not, it didn't come out of our fund.
Yeah, it did not come out of our funding. It was a donation to us.
Yeah, that's my error.
And then just some training classes that are going on, some tire repairs, things of that nature.
I see sniper training on here.
Yep. Officer McDowell is on the SWAT team, and he was selected to be part of their sniper team, so now he's going to training down in Atterbury, or no, he's going to Blackwater for sniper school.
Where's that at?
Blackwater, Illinois.
Illinois?
Same spot that our current SWAT team attends every October for their 2 days of exercise.
Okay.
That's it for that. The only other thing was that we got, like I said in the other meeting, we got approved for the 2 new speed signs. We ordered them, they said it'd be about 6 weeks to get those. We purchased those through CCD funding, so.
Okay. Expenditure report and grants.
Nothing new on the grants. You got, that was the expenditure report, so. That was everything that I just said. Purchase orders, expenditure reports, and finance.
Okay, and no grants.
Nothing right now. Still looking into some.
Staffing.
Ben King has moved from probationary to second-class patrolman or just flat patrolman. That will be something that we'll be bringing to you in policy to amend it a little bit. We found that the wording is not accurate in our policy. Historically, when an officer is a lateral transfer, we do a 6 month versus a 1 year. You know, probation for 1 year, second class for 1 year, then first class. But when they're a lateral transfer, we only do a 6 month and 6 month. It's a standard promotion. There's nothing that comes with it. You just get it up to a first class patrolman. So we're going to fix the literature on it and present it to you guys next month's meeting so that it stipulates that when they're lateral transfers. Officer Powell started his field training with Officer Solsky, so they're in the midst of that. We had a good conversation with Mr. Nemeth. His intentions is to retire on October 30th. We have his replacement already working side by side to start learning the jobs or continue to learn the job. We did our testing, which our training coordinator did testing Sunday. We have a total of 4 applicants for the position that's opening up. That's it. A total of 6 applications, I think, right?
Yeah, one did not show, and then one did not
No,
pass.
6 applications in total.
Okay.
I think it was 6 in total, right? At the testing process, which I'll let you talk about that in a second. I think a total, but only 4 passed, so we'll be doing interviews. We're doing backgrounds on them right now, so.
Alrighty, training reports.
All right, so training, as you know, we moved to get a new training coordinator, and we did interviews. We conducted interviews with the administration, and I chose Officer Meyer here, sitting to my left, as our new training coordinator for the department. He's pretty excited. He's
Thank you.
taking the reins right away and moving forward pretty good. So I'm going to let him give you the training report and let him tell you what he's been doing.
They just went July, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. There wasn't much training done in July. We had Officer Machoff and Officer Salsky were sent to leadership training, which was July 13th to the 14th. They both accrued 8 hours apiece on that. There were 16 hours in total, and then there was SWAT training for Officer McDowell and Officer Miller at the MAC Center in Valparaiso. There'll be more training in the future, and then instead of just 2 for your 4 officers in total.
Any questions for him?
Yeah, what do you have planned, what do you think should be brought up as training?
Well, if it was to go my way, it'd cost the town a little more money, but more hands-on. I'd like to see more range days, more driving days, EVOC, emergency vehicle operations. I plan to send the entire department through a CPR and AED course through the fire department. I have been talking to Corporal Miller. I'd like to do some defensive tactics with him. And then even the Reserve Officer Presti, he came to me last Friday with some really good ideas on more hands-on training, when to transition and when not to use a weapon versus giving, it's more or less, it'd be more of a defensive tactics training, but his way of describing it is not giving somebody the opportunity to take a gun from an officer. And there's a couple other things too. I'd like to do some night shoots, and more tactical stuff on that too. So there's a lot of plans that are going on in my head right now, but it just costs time and money, so.
And how would you implement that? That it wouldn't be an on-duty thing. They would be off-duty, you'd bring them in for this hands-on training?
Some of it would have to be, yeah, absolutely. And that's really the only way we could get it done.
Well, they would always be on duty in the training.
Well, right, but I mean, they wouldn't be scheduled to patrol. You'd
Yeah.
take them on their off time.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're hoping that, next month, or in January, when we move to the 12-hour schedule versus the 8-hour, that'll open up some more ability to train a little bit more, so.
Will you add to your budget for training to accommodate these guys on their off time?
I can only tell you that I am trying every single year to add to the training budget, and that's the first thing that gets slashed, so. Historically, training came out of the Law Enforcement Education Fund, LEAF. That used to get backed by all of the money that we received from firearms permits, from accident reports, from case reports. But that has changed so drastically in the years that we don't get the money that we used to. Right now, statutorily, we can only charge 10 cents a page for an accident report, or a case report, right? And we don't have at all any firearm stuff anymore, unless someone wants to do it, which they don't have to. So we're supposed to get some funding from the state for it. But we haven't received, I think they're saying the first check could be delivered in September, I think is the last we heard, to compensate the departments for losing that amount of money, but the LEAP fund is gonna dry up because we don't have the money funneling into it that would normally from everything, so.
It just doesn't seem to be very effective to do what you're saying online, defensive tactics. You can't do that online.
It's gotta be in
No.
person. 100% has to. The stuff that you would do online would be more like, bloodborne pathogens or, mental health, maybe domestic violence. Even in that case, some domestic violence stuff should be hands-on, to hopefully identify with some sort of different domestic battery situations. But, it's definitely I just signed up one of our officers for a class in the end of September. You're looking at least $400 a class, and that's just one day. It's expensive,
More
it's
than
not
that.
cheap.
Yeah. Most classes are running about $800 in person now. $795, I think, most of them I see.
Yeah, I'm seeing ranging between 300 to 1,000, depending on the class. And sometimes you can send people to NILEA or ILEA, and they don't charge you anything, but even then, there's classes that they do charge you for. I'm going to be
And
sending.
they bring instructors in.
Yeah, I have one officer signed up to go to field training, to be a field training officer. It's a $450 class. It's not cheap.
And you gotta remember, the last 2 years, we've been COVID conscious, so there was no in-house training, there was no live training.
So it's overdue, is what you're
It
saying.
is way overdue,
And
so.
especially with this new de-escalation obligation that we have here, it's gotta be incorporated into what you're doing.
Yeah, there's 2 hours of that has to be done. 2 hours of physical tactics, use of force, 2 hours firearms, and 2 hours EVOC. So fortunately, with the EVOC, you can do it online, but it's not ideal. I don't think that's the best idea. I think it should be in person, so guys can get a feel of their cars.
All right? Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like you hit the ground running.
What we wanted,
Good choice.
thank you, sir.
Okay, well, we hit go to equipment now.
Equipment would fall under the same speed sign, I don't think we had any other equipment. Everything's smooth right now.
Okay, monthly activity reports.
You can see we have breached the 34 data calls per day now. We're hovering just below that, so we have a total of 7,194 calls for the year. In the month of July, we issued 107 state citations, 311 state warnings, We arrested 29 people, 60 charges were filed, for a total of 205 for the year arrests, and a total of 373 charges for the year. You can see on the ordinance side of it, for the month of July, there were 37 citations issued, those are ordinance warnings issued in the month of July for a total of 389 for the year, and we had 106 town ordinance citations issued for the month, for a total of 350 for the year.
Monthly activity report,
I just gave that to you.
flexible policy. I can't get this 0.
Okay, so while Sarah's doing that, so we had a mass update on flexible policies. You have received that with a brief description on that first page there for you. Policy 100 was an amendment to 2022, the House Bill 1296, relating to publicly carrying handgun and its arrest authority. We had to remove that information because it's no longer required to have a permit. So quite a few of these related to that permit requirement that we had to remove that information from our policies, including policy number 208. Policy 104, we're still waiting, but that one is strictly a ADA question as to whether or not in the application process we can stipulate the terms free of mental illness. We believe that needs to be removed because of ADA compliance. So we need to get that taken out of the policy. We had some, go ahead.
Crossing guard. Crossing guard was added to that.
Oh, on 104, that's right. And so we also added the crossing guard's job description in 104. Thank you very much, Sarah. Crossing guard's description, or, description in 104. Policy 318, victim and witness assistance, it just had some wording changes for seeking for CALEA, which is for certification or accreditation, and a guided updated sheet. And there were some duplicate words that were in there that had to be removed. Policy 326 related to House Bill 1296 as well, which was the handgun carrying issue, because we required a permit for the reserve officers, but now they don't have to have one. So it recommended some wording changes. Policy 423, change included an update to the AED use section, and we don't carry AEDs, so that section, it was added in, but we didn't add it because we don't carry AEDs, so we go through the training when they get CPR, but we don't carry them. Policy 428 is a brand new one, that's for vehicle lockouts. We wanted to add a new policy, adding the process for vehicle lockouts as well as the attachment form that is attached to it, which would be a document that the people would sign to ensure that, you know, we could damage something if you're asking us to get into your car. Otherwise, you can call a locksmith. So it just gives some basic information and stuff like that. Policy 501, it really asks us to change traffic crashes to traffic accidents multiple times. We do not refer to them as accidents in Indiana. We refer to them as crashes because a crash is not an accident. They're not accidents, they're crashes. The reason for that is accident is not the terminology that's used by the state. So we keep it as traffic crash report because there's always a reason for the reason that it happened. It also changed the minimum crash from $1,000 to $2,500. So our minimum crash report requirement was $1,000 worth of damage. Now it's $2,500, but in my department we do crash reports for any damage. Because we're not assessors and we can't assess how much damage there actually is, so they are required to do crash reports for if they see any damage, it's required. Policy 700, investigating and prosecution, refers to Senate Bill 155, amended the law creating a requirement that an agency notify the Indiana Attorney General within 30 days after beginning an investigation for certain offenses. Policy 902, amended the law relating to preservation of biological evidence, subject to DNA testing. We don't store a lot of that stuff, we keep it at the state lab. But it just, and it had some word changes. There was some repetitive stuff in there that they removed. Policy 1000 updates to several subsections, including language, grammar, and punctuations, along with changes they got rid of gender neutrality or changed it, right? Would you say the majority of our updates got rid of the his and her and just referred to the person as officer? So they get them, a lot of times it would refer to his or her, right? Because it could be a male or a female police officer. So they changed that to just referring to it as the officer. And then special assignments or promotions had some duplications recommended by the payroll department, and then corrected some typos. What was that exactly, the recommendation by payroll again, Sarah?
For the promotion of that, probationary, the 6 months.
That has to do with the 6 months, so that was included in there, okay. So that would be policy number 1102, and that would allow, the person that is a lateral transfer to be promoted to a second-class patrolman after 6 months versus a year, and then a first-class patrolman after a year versus 2 years, because they already have years of experience as a law enforcement officer. And then policy 1110 still has to do with that, it's still in legal review with Lexipol for personal complaints. It's reference part-time, probationary officers is what is in reference to. So that is our updates for our policy, Lexipol policies. I know you guys got those several weeks ago from email from Sarah, so we're just looking to adopt those updates for our policy manual.
Okay, 208. On the
208.
License to carry handgun.
Let me get to 208, sir, before you go into it. Hold on a second. Okay.
And it talks here about submitting an application form and permits and application process.
Yep.
And you're saying that you don't have to apply for permits?
They don't, but people still do because they want reciprocity in other states. So in order to do that, they have to have a permit in the state in which they reside. So people still can get a permit, but they don't have to within the state of Indiana. The only thing that changed in there was letter E on applicant qualifications, have a proper reason for receiving a license to carry a handgun. We can't ask that question.
So you're saying if someone from Illinois wanted to get a permit here?
No, they have to live in Indiana.
And that would be for them to go to Illinois?
No, because Illinois is one of those scary states that you can't carry in their state. But Ohio and Michigan and Kentucky, you can. They have reciprocity with Indiana.
Okay, so if you got an Indiana permit, you could cross the
Correct.
border over there?
Correct.
Okay, and so this is the process?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
I think Illinois honors no one.
They honor nobody.
There's
Not, actually, the city of Chicago for a long time wouldn't even let the officers from other states carry weapons. But to be honest with you, the federal law changed all that. We're allowed to carry in every state now. We just have to carry our credentials with us and all that information. That was right after 9/11, right? When they changed that? Was it, Dave?
I don't remember, but
That House bill, wasn't it right after 9/11?
I don't remember when it happened.
Did you have any other questions on that? Just that
No,
one?
that, I
Yeah.
just wanted to understand.
Yeah, it's because we still get them, it's just very rare now.
Okay.
So we still had to have a process for it.
And this whole list of orders that you just went over,
Mhm.
when are they ready for approval?
They're ready for approval right now.
Oh, okay.
That's why you guys got them and,
So
that's why we sent
1110,
them to you.
personnel complaints is not ready for approval,
That one's still in the hands of the attorney.
so it's not ready yet.
That's correct. The ones that are listed in here, with the exception of the ones 104 and 1110, which are the ones that are in the hands of the attorney, as stipulated on the agenda, are ready for approval. So 100, 104, 208, 318, 326, 331, 423, 428, 501, 506, 700, 902, 1000, 1102, and 1110.
I have a question on the crossing guard.
Yes, sir.
It just says we have to train this person.
Yep.
Is that done through the police department?
Yep. You gotta show them how to carry the sign out into the middle of the road and come back.
Basic, first aid.
Actually, she's going to work with Sergeant Yager next week, the whole week.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve as what Chief Fisher stated.
So that's lexical policies, 100, 104, 208, 318, 326, 331, 423, 428, 501, 506, 700, 902, 1000, 1102, 1110.
Yes.
1110 was not ready to go.
Yeah, it is.
1110 is not ready to go, that's correct. That is with the,
104 was not ready.
104 is ready, that's
It is
the,
ready?
that's the update for the,
John
crossing guard, and we are removing, because of ADA compliance, the, front free of mental illness.
So that's been done.
Yeah,
So just 1110 is not ready to go.
that's correct.
So did you read off 1110, Kevin?
It
We're
is.
going to strike 1110.
Strike, yeah. Like,
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Just have Norm, Josh. Any questions on any of it? Roll call vote, please.
Josh Cover?
Yes.
Jim Olthoff?
Yes.
Dave Villalobos?
Yes.
Norm Stick?
Yes.
Charlie Caper?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Anything else?
Only thing is, I'll be in training next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday about Valparaiso PD. Going to, class for, how to analyze, I'm trying to think of the word.
That was counterterrorism.
It's a counterterrorism class, but it's for administration to, look at facilities to make sure that they're safe.
And that's the
I'll leave it at
whole
that.
week? The whole
3
week?
days.
Pardon?
The whole week, or?
Yeah, I'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then I have a personal day on Friday. So, I'll be in on Monday.
We'll all call.
Yeah.
You call me anyway.
Have to work hard on Monday.
Yes, sir.
All right, fire department.
Could I ask you a question?
Yes.
The state police post, is that going to be a lab?
It is. Yeah, that big lab. Yeah.
Are we going to be able to utilize that?
We do now.
Oh, we do?
Oh, yes, 100%.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, we've been using the state police post because they do all of our analysis there, so we take all the forensic stuff there. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, Todd, fire department.
Under communication, the Fireman's Ball, or firefighters banquet, or dance, whatever we're calling it, is this weekend. Please come and enjoy the bands and some camaraderie amongst our departments and community. Under finance and purchase orders, expenditure reports, you got the report in front of you. As you can see, we have had about $23,000 worth of expenses this last in July. Do we have any questions on any of the purchases?
I don't have any.
Staffing, under staffing, you guys had the opportunity to meet Jason tonight, and I'm gonna ask that you please approve him as a part-timer and make a recommendation to the council for the council approval on the 6th, I believe, is the next meeting, so we can bring him on board.
Okay, can we do that under staffing?
We are under staffing.
We're not staffing in your way.
Purchase order expenditure reports and grants, I didn't have anything to report on other than the purchase orders.
All right, I need a motion to hire Jason Beard.
Vida.
Vida. As a part-time paramedic.
I'll make that motion.
Jim, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second from Dave. Are there any questions? Being none, roll call vote.
Josh Cover?
Yes.
Jim Olthoff?
Yes.
Dave Villalobos?
Yes.
Norm Stick?
Yes.
Charlie Caper?
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Also, under the part-time list would be part-time paramedic Masuria, I can't ever remember his name, and Zork. Those two guys will be coming to the next meeting to meet you guys. They are I need them to actually start doing some ride time, but we're gonna have to postpone them until the next, meeting.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Missouri, you guys already approved it. Zurich is the one I need done. The full-time promotions will be, I'll put them on hold until next month due to a technicality that we're dealing with in the clerk treasurer's office. I have a meeting with her on Friday in reference to a handful of cleanup things that we need to do to make our department streamline a little bit better, with her office as well.
Okay, what are we on, equipment,
Training report.
training report?
You can see the training report. We've done multiple trainings. We train every single day. It is extensive. Chief Monger, if you want to talk about some training that you guys recently went through, a few people went through, and discuss what's going on in the future here. I'll go back to finish it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, what's going on at J-Ball?
That's down in my FD other. How about I do that? I'm gonna bring you up to speed on that.
Okay.
As you guys can see, there was a total of 138 sessions offered with a total of 185 hours offered, totaling for the whole department was 850 hours for training. As Chief said, there was a lot of training, nothing real special. We did participate in St. John, they hired a company to do some sprinkler system training that was new to some of our guys. Coming up, we actually formed this already, but for next month's report, we did all of our school walkthroughs, starting to get involved in a lot of electric vehicle extrication and fire training. That's a new thing. There's not enough information out there yet, so we actually were out to Cal City today for a few hours, did the training out there, and a lot to learn on that.
Also, we've conducted a couple CPR classes now. We're getting our feet wet with going out to the community. We just did the CPR class for the staff at Great Oaks After 4 Club. They came down and we did a class for them. And we now have a third instructor, so we'll have more opportunities and we'll be advertising more. I know the Eagles wants a class. I know the PD needs to be updated, and Sarah, she was involved in she was our pilot program, single person rock star. She CPR'd it right out the door, so it was pretty good. So yeah, that's gonna take off because this winter, people have a lot more time to do that kind of stuff, so we'll probably see a huge pickup. We also have one for the Township Trustee's office getting ready to be scheduled as well, so. As Chief Monger talked about school inspections, him working directly with the staff on some issues with the schools, getting them open. This construction process has been kind of a nightmare, but we were able to get everything done under the fire code that needed to be done to be able to open the schools while the schools are still being worked on. It was a delicate process. Some people weren't happy that we made them do certain things to be able to open, but we're not going to, we're going to make sure the fire code is followed, so we did that. The other day we had an issue. I'm sorry, let me get to the bottom of that. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, equipment. Charlie, ready for equipment?
I am, sir.
Okay. My truck is out of service, by the way. It'll be out of service for a while. And while it gets worked on, I'm driving the current electric car. It's been an experience. Just getting in and out of it for me.
That's an extrication training.
Extracting the cheap out of electric cars, yeah, that's good. Everything else is is in pretty decent shape. We are watching a problem with the ladder truck that's gonna probably end up going out of service after the first year for pretty major motor repair. But it could affect us any time, so, Chief Monitor's watching that. The engine, the new engine that's being purchased has been, given an actual part number. So I got an email today from them, so we are now a number. So hopefully that number gets turned into a fire truck in the next 24 months.
Are you having any more problems with the Hanover, donation truck?
The tender?
No, we have not had any problems with that truck as of now. We've been using it. It has been in use on a handful of fire calls, so we've got the most out of it, I think. Hopefully we're in good shape there. The extrication gear that you guys approved and the council approved to get rid of, Schneider Fire Department came up and gracefully took that equipment and was very happy for the donation by the town, and we should be receiving some sort of letter or something here shortly. The only thing we could not give them was the actual hoses, so they were going to have to purchase hoses for the tools, which is a very small part of the part cost, so. It was a great gesture on the town, the fire department's commission's part by helping out our neighbors down south. Those tools will fare them well.
Okay, monthly activity reports.
Charlie, can you note for the minutes that Ralph Miller around?
Oh, you know what, I checked in this just because he was in the door.
Okay.
We need to, put in the, minutes that Ralph Miller is now with us.
So noted.
Okay, under the yearly reports, as of July 31st, we're up to 1,119 calls. And for the monthly report of July, we're at 188 calls, for an increase of around 18% from last year. Do you guys want any information on any specific calls? Okay, the hospitals that we always obviously use are St. Anthony's, St. Margaret's, South Lake Methodist, and I think we even went to Munster one time.
What's going on with COVID?
I have one guy that has COVID currently. He's out, he'll be out for a few days, but, we are not seeing a big increase in calls for COVID.
What about dealing with the hospitals? Are they giving you any?
No,
No?
it's calmed down quite a bit for us as far as COVID's concerned. Obviously, the precautions that they take in the hospital are a little different, but, they're still on bypass at times, but not as much as they were. So, the CDC put out some new guidelines on how to deal with it as far as workforce issues. So we're following the CDC guidelines.
So we have no questions on the monthly activity reports?
Yeah, I'm gonna have quite a few policies here in the future for you guys to, go through and update, or for us to update. I just not had the time to sit down and generate a report on every single one of those, on the comparison on what the increase needs to be.
Okay.
If I could borrow Sarah, I would.
Negative.
Her over and,
Unavailable.
She's ours. He's fine, that's sweet.
But anyways, I'll get them to you as soon as I can. Chief Meyer and I have been extremely busy, with a lot of other stuff going on, and, Sandy doesn't understand the policies enough to be able to make the comparison. So, right now, it's gonna be Chief Meyer and I having to make all those reviews, so.
Pension update.
We have, Dave has our pension paperwork in his office for review. I talked to Chris today. He's hoping to set up a meeting with all of us again to discuss it, here in the near future, to include Dave. Obviously, he's got the report, but, he should be reaching out to you pretty soon, Dave.
I talked to him.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I talked to Chris last week, and we'll be talking again next week or two.
Okay, sounds good.
Anything other?
I have 2 applicants, four applicants currently, that we have not actually interviewed yet, that made application to the department. 3 of them are paramedics from other communities around us, and which one of them is a former that wants to come back. And I have 2 EMTs as well that made application. So we'll be doing some interviews in-house, and then they'll be brought to you guys I'll set these up for you guys to interview them as well. These are for full-time positions and part-time positions, but we're not ready to hire anybody right now, so when we do, once there's positions open, we'll start that process. Right now, we're just taking applications and interviewing who we have in-house. So once positions open, then we'll bring them to you guys for your interviews.
But you have an interview board?
Yes, but what's interesting about this is there's more paramedic firefighters that are employed elsewhere around us that want to come here. And some of them are coming back, like you see, we got 2 guys back. But we do have to prepare for one vacancy, obviously, and that's going to be Pat Scolari's position when he retires next year. I do have a discussion being held with Corby on Friday and Jennifer in reference to possibly bringing that person on if my guy that's not on medical leave doesn't come back until the first of the year. And if he doesn't, then if we can hire that person early to slow our overtime down, that would be great. But we have to make sure it financially fits into the budget as well. So like I said, I have a meeting with Jennifer and Corby and Chris on Friday to crunch those numbers and come up with a recommendation.
Any word on the SAFER grant?
No, I'm here, I talked to a couple other chiefs, they said we should hear something the first week of September.
So no news right now is good news.
No news.
That's good news right now.
Looking at the history, they bounce back between June and September, between when they have done it in the past. So our status is currently still in review. If you get one that says no longer in review and no notification, that means you are no longer in the hunt. So right now, we're still in the hunt. And I think we still stand a great chance of getting it. We are like the model community for the need of this grant, the SAFER grant. So, I mean, we were able to check all the boxes on that grant. And with Dougie's help on some of that narrative, we think we built a really nice grant opportunity for us. So, regardless, we still got to hire some people sometime soon, because we are running at full tilt.
So when you have these meetings that you guys interview at the fire department, we've been sitting in with the police departments.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So if that's not an objective to you, can we do that?
Yes,
Can
absolutely.
it just be one? I don't know who sat in, whatever, but.
I say, our job wasn't really to ask questions, you guys asked the questions. Our job was to observe and take back to our team.
Okay.
So if you don't mind.
PD
No, I don't mind.
went very well.
I don't mind at all, absolutely. Just let me know who wants to do it, and when we schedule them.
Yeah, when you schedule them, let us know, and,
It's gonna be a while yet before we schedule them.
okay.
So,
But if you can put us in the loop on that, we'd appreciate it.
I'll shoot you all an email, and you guys respond accordingly, who wants to sit on preferably just one though, if we can do that.
Only one will come.
Okay, all right. Very well, no problem.
Okay,
Under fire department, other,
yes.
we did have to provide a fire watch for the school corporation at Jane Ball yesterday. In Chief Mager's work with the schools, to try to get everybody back in line and making sure all the sprinklers are up and running and the fire alarm systems are working properly, and during his inspection process, he has a very good rapport with our school officials, and in the past, we have had an issue where the school corporation's fire alarms go down. The state statute says that they have to provide a fire watch as long as there's kids in that school, or they have to send everybody home if the fire alarm system goes down. So in the past, what the school has done, and they have hired our firefighters to do fire watch. They have to be in uniform, we have to have a marked unit there, they have to have radio communication, and that's what we did on Tuesday with one of our firefighters. They become an employee of the school. We don't deal with their pay or anything like that. It's covered under the same program that the SROs are covered under, and they become part-time employees of the school corporation, so that if we ever need them, we can call on them and say, get to the school, you got a fire watch at Jane Ball, and it's just for the school day, or if there's extracurricular activities with kids at the school later. So that did happen on Tuesday. We had a problem with the system that went down, I'm sorry, yesterday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, and we called in one of our volunteers, and he went and stayed with the school and did some PR work in there, and the kids loved him, and it was a really good thing. But just to let you know, that is a program that we do, we offer, and we will always be part of as long as, there's an issue with the fire alarm system. Because the alternative is going home. A couple big reasons why you shut the schools down. One's the fire alarm system, and if you don't have water. And we're gonna always support that process.
Anything else?
Only other thing I have with the police side is I will be bringing some possible promotions up to you guys in the next month or so. We are short a supervisor right now, so we need to replace that supervisor. On top of going to 12s next month, or in the first of the year, we're going to have to adjust some supervisory positions, which was included in my budget for next year. But we need to definitely promote at least one corporal to supervisory role, because we're in desperate need for a supervisor on shift. So we're going to have that sometime in the next month. We'll schedule with you guys to interview those candidates that are interested, and then we'll go forward with that.
Okay.
And then there's something else, but I forgot. Shoot.
They shoot. Got anything else?
Yeah, kind of piggyback on what Bill said about promotions. We have promotions to do as well, like I talked about earlier, but we only have one person per position that's wanting those positions or needing to move up in those positions, so ours would be much simpler. Do you guys want to actually interview them? The last consensus at the meeting was we were going to get them pumped up, but since there was a issue brought up, tell me how you guys feel. How about I shoot you an email with some information on it and see if there's any interest?
Your budget supported?
My budget will support the very, very minuscule money that it would take, yeah.
And these are all in-house people?
All in-house people, yeah.
How many of them are you promoting to?
I want to promote two volunteers, which is, one of them would be $100 stipend, change from a lieutenant to captain, and then a lieutenant to a division chief of our Marine unit for a $500 stipend, which the volunteer budget has that with no problem. And then two career people, one from a captain to a battalion chief because he's a shift supervisor. The other one from a paramedic firefighter to a captain. And the total number without benefits to make it through the end of the year was less than $1,000. So the clerk treasurer has an issue with it, so we're going to revisit it and see how we can do it. I know my budget overtime and my part-time overtime is very high right now, but these promotions are important to balance out what we're currently doing, so that with people we have lost and people now we are bringing back, I need that shift supervisor to be in that battalion chief role, and I need to get Amy bumped up to an officer, and so next year, I can put in to make her our EMS division chief, but you don't hold a rank, so she will need a rank to fall back on if something ever happened. So really, I understand that our budget is in a crisis on the payroll side, but it's very little money right now, because there's not much difference between a firefighter, paramedic, and a firefighter, paramedic, captain, which hopefully in next year's budget, we're gonna straighten that out, because we put new numbers in for those positions to be added. Chief Fisher and I both were working on that with our departments to put more disparity between the positions so that they're more desirable, and people deserve that increase because they're doing more work.
Can you explain, Amy is the girl, you said that she needed a rank to fall back on?
She currently,
Can you clarify that?
yes, she currently is not an officer on the department. So if we promote her to the rank of captain, that would be a service rank, meaning that would be her position currently. Merit position, yes, thank you, that was the word I was looking for. That's her merit position. So then, next year, I can promote her based upon not merit, it could be an appointed position to be the EMS division chief, which it is now. Okay? So if for some reason she lost her EMS division chief position, she would fall back to a captain, not all the way back down to a black hat firefighter.
Is she eligible
She is.
as a black hat firefighter to be promoted to the division chief?
No, she's not being promoted to the division chief.
I heard what you said, but could she be? If you wanted to skip the rank of captain, bump her all the way up to, could she be? Is she eligible? Is there some rule that says you can't do that?
No, but the problem would be if she got bumped back down in the future.
She'd go all the way back
she'd
down.
go all the way back
Chutes and
down.
ladders, right, all the way down.
So it's important for us to follow a chain of command and a chain of promotional process to do that, I think. It's only fair to the department and fair to the employee.
It also gives her some credibility with other departments that she's in.
It gives her credibility, not just, you're right, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, not just our department, or with other departments, with our own department. She has to have some authority, and we have to give it to her, because she's gonna be taking on a very big role next year when Pat Scolari leaves, because he is the EMS division chief right now.
Okay, anything else, Todd?
If you guys want to meet these people and talk to them, or how do you wanna do this? This is all in-house,
I think that the career people we should talk to.
okay?
I don't know how you guys feel, but people who are moving up in a career status up to a rank.
Bill, when do you plan on doing interviews?
Probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Could we do them all one night with the police? How about you guys?
Not
Yes,
next week.
do you have a couple?
Yeah, I have like 4 that have applied for it.
It might be a lot.
Took them about,
Well-
you guys spent about 30 minutes on each one of them, something like that.
How many do you have?
4. I have the 2 career and the 2 volunteers.
Just got 4.
But it's,
Typically, mine would
you're
be
just
way-
interviewing them, you're not gonna ask them any questions, they're getting the position. Mine, you're choosing a corporal.
Right, that's the difference.
You gotta choose between the 4.
And with deliberations, that yours takes longer.
Could take some time, sure.
Yeah, let's do 2 separate dates.
Well, we're gonna do it probably on a board night, because we have to limit the amount of times you guys meet, because you're bleeding our budget.
Yeah, and I don't wanna wait that long
That
either.
would be, I don't know if that would work. I don't know if we agree with that.
My budget's already.
The only thing we could do is do 4 of them.
No, both of us have to transfer funds into the Board of Safety line item, because we're both probably 30% over what it was allotted, even with extra meetings, yeah, because of the stuff we had to do.
We're wanted people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, our interviews shouldn't take very long. They really shouldn't.
Can we do one of them in, like, hey, and do 4 of them, which 4 would go the quickest? Probably Todd.
Yeah, if you would do mine first,
Right,
and, because there's not anybody competing for those positions.
right.
So I think the questioning is obviously much more intense on the police side. Now, I anticipate as we grow, we'll have people interested in those positions, but we don't have the amount of manpower that the police department has, that where there's multiple people interested in those positions. There's absolutely nobody else qualified to take these positions right now, because we're a very young department.
Josh, can you be here a half hour earlier than 5 o'clock, or no?
Yeah, as long as they don't have them.
Okay, so we're gonna do Todd's before the meeting, and then we'll interview the 4 corporal candidates afterwards. Now, I don't know if we're
How are
gonna.
we gonna be able to,
We're not
then
planning,
I'll have to wait another month before we actually vote on it.
so, Charlie, you're not planning on,
We can't vote in the thing anyway.
Because I know that, but if you meet them and do the interviews and then have the regular meeting, you can vote on it still.
Charlie, you're not planning on doing this before we have a meeting,
Well, 4 of them,
but not the police department, 4 of them. That takes a long time.
but he's
We
now,
can do Todd's,
well, that's what I wanted to do, but now Bill says that,
yep, okay, then we'll have to have a special meeting, because that's too time consuming to do the police.
because we're gonna have to decide on the corporal, except
Well,
whatever.
exactly, so, I mean, that takes a lot of time.
But that's take more time.
So we'll have the interviews before the meeting then, so you guys can have time to
We'll have to
discuss
do
it. How's
it-
that sound?
For the police
We'll
department.
have to figure out a special meeting date
Yes.
then.
Yeah,
We'll just do that. We can do theirs too, them in a special meeting date.
yeah,
Just have one special meeting day before the Board of Safety meeting next month.
just trying to get everyone together.
Not before the meeting that night.
Right.
So
Right,
all,
right,
both of
another
us
day.
will be the.
Another day.
That'd be great, because then we can plan a little bit better that night.
Okay?
All right.
That's it.
The interview of your people, chief, won't take long.
No, because like I said, our recommendation already is those people, plus, like I said, we don't have qualified staff that would want to compete for those spots right now. I hope
In other words.
someday soon, as we grow, like the PD has the opportunity, because he's got 4 people that put in for the same position, and, which is only fair to have the interview process go, but I don't have that luxury yet.
I mean, do we have any problem having this at the fire department, because always trying to get this room?
Let's do it at the fire department, we can do it all there, yeah.
Well, I mean, try for here first, but if you can't get here, then,
We'll look at the schedule.
yeah.
Yeah, not a
Okay.
problem.
Sounds good.
We can always use the fire station.
All right,
Nothing else.
anything else?
I'm good too, thank you.
Okay. Legal from the town attorney.
Oh, I'm sorry, I do have one thing.
Oh, yeah.
His time was.
Commissioner Villalobos mentioned earlier that some of you received some of my updates on of our policies. Did anybody else receive those?
I got it on the Outlook.
I don't know.
Are you sure it
You
wasn't
did?
ours?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
It said FD on it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why that happened, because I'm not prepared to bring them to you yet, because I haven't even looked at them myself. They just came through Lexipol, and we've been gathering probably 10 or 15 of them. I don't want to bring one of them at a time to you, I want to bring, like Bill did, a handful of them to get them done. So we haven't had a chance to do a comparison side by side to see what the actual differences are yet.
I don't think I got him.
I didn't get it.
Somehow I sent some emails to Jennifer's office on some updates for some policies they're looking for. I don't know if I accidentally included the council, commissioners, I'm sorry, if you did disregard, they're not ready to come to you yet. But they will be, That's all I had to
In the future,
go with that.
Lexipol changes, it'd be nice to highlight the change,
Yeah,
so we can compare, instead of having to read the entire both of them,
We can do that.
highlight the changes.
I think that, yeah, and I know that 2 of them are additional
Okay.
that were added, so I saw that
And
come
just
across.
mark that addition.
Yeah, because that's gonna be a whole new policy, so. All right, now I'm done. Thank you.
Mr. Austin, I know you've been very busy, but have you had a chance to look at any of these 3 flexible things? Do you have any time frame on it?
Yeah, I'm meeting with the chief on September 13th, and, my plan was to address open items that include.
Okay. I don't know whose pension packet, legal review.
Well, I'm gonna review it, I've read it once, I'm meeting with the town manager soon, and we're gonna go over it together also. That's what I was asked to do.
Alrighty, anything on training?
Can I be part of it?
No.
Training. We already did
We're
that.
gonna talk about you.
No, he
The
doesn't.
reason it's not about me, it's about pension.
Well, it'll be the intro to it, like the appetizer.
Dave, did you do anything on the reimbursement agreements for sick
Yes.
rolls and Stirk and?
Yes, I issued notices to, the third I have not. I'm
Okay.
looking for some guidance on that. And I'm not certain the guidance is here. It has to do with the firefighter who left you and went to South Bend and,
Wants to go back.
yeah, decided. So there's some confusion in my mind as I sat and assessed what the next step was.
Okay. You'll discuss that with Billy on the 13th also?
Yeah, with him.
Mine?
No,
No.
mine.
No, he's got all mine.
Oh,
That was a firefighter. I
That's right.
I don't
I'm
fight
sorry.
fires.
You start fires.
I start fires.
Yeah.
No, I'll have a discussion with Dave about it.
Okay, then we have update to current contract. I don't know if
That
that
clarifies whatever you need to clarify.
We're just trying to update it to be
I know
more,
it's
current with what the costs are. So I know in Todd's contract, he wanted to increase it because, I think
The
you
cost
said
of
year
equipment.
itself, wasn't it?
You're talking
So-
about the
Reimbursement contract, yeah, so we mentioned it to, Mr. Austin, he's just gotta review it. We need to get him numbers as to what we wanna increase it so he can,
Yeah.
redo the contract. So I'll probably just change the numbers in it. I don't think there's much that needs to be redone on it,
Okay,
so.
Yeah, because the cost of training has gone up as well.
Yeah.
So.
sure, everything's going up, so. New building update.
We're moving along. They, have the information to Greg that we've, modified a couple of things with the help of the fire department to increase some, overall space on the police side. We're looking pretty good. It's, right now they're reviewing, possibly have, a builder on board. The builder is reviewing to see if we can be under budget.
Okay.
They are gonna be doing, well, they already have been doing some soil testing.
Yeah, that's done, yeah.
If you've seen-
That's paid for.
If you've seen somebody out there doing it, that's what it's for.
They did soil testing.
Okay. Emergency operations plan update.
We meet tomorrow at 10:30 to continue it.
Okay, there are 23 other.
Huh? What's that?
23 is other. Speak now or
We're good.
forever hold your peace.
I'm good, you?
I have about 10 more things. You gotta go pee? All right.
David, anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay, have to call for public comment, 3 times. If you have any questions, please approach the podium and state your name. Public comment once, public comment twice, public comment 3 times. Being none, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Josh, any questions on adjourning? Being none, roll call vote. We got to change.
I'll shoot you an email. Just
Josh Trevor,
shoot me back a time.
Yes.
Tim Wolf,
Yes.
Dave Beulah,
Yeah.
Norm Smith, Charlie Taylor.
Yes.
Motion carries.
You can adjourn next